frank can I be?
Yeah, don't hold back. Like we want to hear what you actually.
I'll give you the down and dirty. Well, here's the truth. When I started out, I was pretty shit. Time is the only thing that's equal amongst all people. It's where that time actually goes. I've invested well over $1 million outside 5 university or tertiary qualifications. Literally about 3 weeks, for the 4th time, I'll be on a little private safari with Richard Branson, so I've had plenty of time with them. We get a profit loss and a balance sheet every month from all our clients. So we know the things that work. It's called Business Owner Joy, and this is the heart of our genius of what we do. So this here is the heart of what we do, is helping business owners to have joy and what they're doing. How do you do that? 3 things you've got to be able to nail. So the revenue is the highest, but the profit is off the charts. In these last few months, the business has made more than in the 10 years before as far as the profit that they're bringing in. When you know what the strategy is it's actually relatively simple. Then not one client ever, and we've worked with over the years we've been doing this now for over 1,700 businesses, not one has ever had this foundation right.
So much, and I'm super looking forward to having you on the Game Changer show in New Farm, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. But outside of this, just the conversation part, we get some networking, some great food, some good drinks, and it's a really, really special experience. So super looking forward to seeing you there. We do have some tickets still available, so anyone wanting to book in for that, hit the link. We are live. I have been so looking forward to this video and this interview. Literally, we've been trying to organize this for months. So who is this man? Runs a multi-million-dollar coaching business right here in Brisbane. Navy background, dentist, professional. If you know who this is, you already know who I'm talking about. However, if you don't, without further ado, let me bring on and introduce for you Mr. David Dugan. Dave, come on down. Welcome to the show.
G'day, Patrick. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Good to meet the team here as well. Love the platform you've got here. This is super duper sexy, and I can see why you're such a great entrepreneur, because you're always innovating at the edge, my friend.
Thanks so much, Dave. Do appreciate that.
Pleasure.
So, man, it's got to have some fun, right? We've got to have some fun.
That's it. Totally agree.
And I know you get this too. We're in business. We've got to be making money, because otherwise we're not in business. And we've got to be making a difference, because if we think it's all just about the money, we've kind of missed a huge golden opportunity, right?
Completely. Yeah, completely agree. Completely. Love it.
So look, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, because I know, we say business coach. There's coaches and there's coaches, right? And everybody's got to have a coach. If you're in business without a coach, it's like, no one ever won gold at the Olympics without a coach. No one ever did anything really extraordinary without a coach. So and everyone kind of gets that. But then when you're looking at coaches, it's like they don't all come equal, right?
Well, everyone has to start somewhere, and I think you're right. And one of the best things about the coaching and the mentoring industry is that it's an unregulated industry. One of the worst things about the industry is that it's an unregulated industry, and so you've got this little quandary. And I actually think most business coaches that really actually do, depending on the business they're working with, actually do a really good job. They do it. It just may not be sustainable, and they can give them some good quick wins. To be able to have people working with you for years and years and years, that's a different skill. And here's the truth. When I started out, I was pretty shit. Just excuse my French on that. But over time, if you continue to stay in your game and learn and grow, and I've invested well over $1 million outside 5 university or tertiary qualifications, and I keep on learning well over that, and keep on staying at the edge and keep on learning and keep on doing it. Then you get to be able to enhance that and deliver better results for clients. So that's what we pride ourselves on, and we enjoy it. We get a profit and loss you've got members watching this from all around the world. So an income statement for the Americans that we get a profit loss and a balance sheet every month from all our clients. And
wow.
We've got a good number. So we know what moves the needle. And last year, the average increase in profit was 292% compared to the year before. The year before that, was 418%. The year before that was 275%. The year before that was 176%. So that's year on year on year So we know the things that work.
2, 3, 4 times, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, we did it before that, but I can't remember all the numbers right off the top of my head right now. But they're the last handful of years, so we know what that delivers, and we're pretty pumped for how that works.
That's
so
cool.
when you stand the test of time, it works.
Well,
we're jumping in on this already. What's going on?
That's good stuff. I want to get your story, but I think we might as well, just kind of cover off on this while we're here, because at the end of the day, as a business owner, that's the only reason I'd invest in anything, whether it's marketing or coaching or anything, is that I'm going to see a return on it, right? Because if I don't want a return, I might as well, it's gambling, right? Then I go to the casino or something. It's just like, what's the point? But when you get a return like that, that's the
only, and probably just on that comment, the only thing that's a little bit of a tweak on that is sometimes the return is not always as easy to see.
Sure.
So there are, and obviously we're in business, so we do expect that there's going to be some movement in the revenue, or better still, the profit, or even better still, is cash flow. But I've got most of the people that we work with are already the top of their game. They're already very good at what they're doing. They're awesome operators of a business, and we help them to go from being an operator to an owner. And generally speaking, the first 18 months, depending on what their business model is and how smart they were or how intelligent they were in building that, most people are pretty average at best. There usually is a bit of a change in their business model. So often what ends up happening, and you're probably going, David, I can't believe you're going to say this, but it's the truth, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Is a lot of people in their first year, the revenue doesn't change a hell of a lot. Yeah, it'll increase a bit. Their profit will change, which is more important. A lot of people focus on revenue, but what the big thing is again, ROI is it may be a numbers thing that is dollars, or it could be a time thing. You go from being an operator where you're in there 60 hours, 70 hours a week, and you're the doer of the work, to when you're now an owner where other people are doing, and you're shifting the time factor. When you understand that ROI, that's a huge ROI on that on its own. So I think it's easy, but did it just move the needle on the numbers? And obviously we track it, so we think that's important. But also time and impact are the other two that are super important as well.
I want to get back to your story, but do this now, because obviously profit. We know how to track money, right? We know how to track the dollars, and it's super important, and so important to be able to do that well. But tracking time and tracking impact. Tell me more. I'm intrigued. You got my curiosity. Let's go.
Well, I know you're doing this live, but this is completely unrehearsed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, you're up for it. That's what business owners should do. I just had a coaching session just before, so I'm going to use the old flip chart. I'll
do it.
I'll probably do it this way, buddy. I'm just going to speak really frank. So, is it how frank can I be?
Don't hold back. Like we want to hear what actually.
I give you the down and dirty, all the good stuff, and also maybe not the not so good stuff. By the way, all the not so good stuff is generally speaking the stuff that will harnessed properly is all the stuff that actually guides you where you want to go. So all the not so good stuff is actually where the most of the shifts really happen. So
let's hear it. Let's do this, Dave. Go for it.
What I see happen is most people, when they start a business or are building a business, they end up creating a job, a job. Now, I know on the screen it'll be a bit too hard to see. That's okay. Just listen to my words more than anything else. Does that work? What we do is we shift that thinking around, and this is a play on words here as much as anything else. Is we want to shift that to become business owner joy. And that is, we fully believe that if you're courageous enough, naive enough maybe to be a business owner, that we firmly believe that every business owner, when they wake up every day, they should be getting the wealth they deserve. They should be getting the time implemented in the areas they want to. They're making the impact that makes a difference to them. And we know that can happen. To make that happen, here's a little Venn diagram, but it helps to map this sucker out.
Yep.
Is three things need to happen to get business owner joy. First one is you've got to have a sense of autonomy. And that is you're the master and commander of your own destiny. Like, I want to do this. That's why most people start a business, so they have the freedom of time and the money. Okay, that's what autonomy is. The only thing is when you start a business, it doesn't always end out the way you want it. And then you've got things like mortgages. I started my business. I just had my first son. I'd quit. I retired from being a commander in the Navy. I've been to the Middle East. I've been in deployments. I did that for 18 years. I loved it. But I had 9 of my friends killed in a helicopter crash. So I was meant to be on that helicopter. So I had a sliding doors moment where I thought I needed to do something different, and started this journey. Had an investment portfolio that I needed to feed. If those are in Australia, called negative gearing, which is great when you're in a high salary in the military, but not so good when you start a business. And that leads us to this point here. To really have joy, you've got to have a high degree of certainty or confidence, but certainty is the word here, that your business can work now and also for the future, because we're going to innovate. So this is making sure that the business and the product is innovating, but also you as an individual is innovating. Because what ends up happening is I see a lot of people, if they're starting a business, it's around the 3.5 to 4.5 year mark. They're putting all this time and this energy out. And what ends up happening is they get tired and they start to get burned out. Yeah. And then what ends up happening is they have an affair on their business and they start a new business or the next bright shiny object. And so they jump onto the new thing. So certainly it's just making sure that you're on the right path. And then this is picking up on really what started this little convo off. This little, obviously these circles are not drawn to scale, but this one here is an interesting one, and that is its power. And what we mean by here in power is being a force for good. And that is that your vehicle that you have called a business, and it is a vehicle, has the power to make a big impact. And we know that entrepreneurs, and on your title you've got yourself written down as a social entrepreneur. I think all entrepreneurs or business owners, that's now, it's not even like social entrepreneur is almost a word anymore. It's like being an entrepreneur, being a business owner in the now, and having certainty of the future. If you don't do this, you're probably going to find that your business is going to start to plateau or start to move off. Not just because that's what the marketplace wants, but that's where the shift in the economy. You've got some interesting presidents of countries doing different things, and people going, we don't want that, we want something else. And so there's driving forces to make that happen. So when you look at these 3 things here, and I'll ask you this, Patrick, because just on behalf of the members, which one here, with the people that you hang out with, which one do you think out of these 3 are the one that would resonate the most for the little people that you speak?
On the left over there is autonomy. Then down the bottom,
and power.
What was the bottom one?
Certainty.
Certainty. So, I mean, all 3 are important for sure. I know when I was getting into business, autonomy was a big driver for me. And I know this is really common with a lot of business owners we speak to, because they go, they're in their job and they go, I'm working for a dummy. And then they go and quit their job and now they're working for a maniac, right?
Exactly.
He makes them work hard and often doesn't even pay them. It's like themselves, and it's crazy. Yeah. But I'm free, I'm empowered to forge my own destiny, and it's very exciting. The certainty, I don't see, a lot of super successful business owners getting into business for certainty. That's always a funny one, because it seems to be more secure in a job a lot of the time, right? You go, well, I'm just going to get paid, and someone else can handle the market and the government and the responsibility and all these different things. But when you're the business owner, it's all on you, and you get to make all the choices. But then, like you say, you got to make all the choices, right?
So what ends up happening, people start with this and then very quickly go, holy shit, but there's no cash flow. I want some certainty.
Yeah, I need to get some certainty. And then once they get to that point, of course, the third thing is they're making all this money, and now they're going, well, what's the point, right? And there's a lot of the business owners that I talk to, they're making money, they're doing well, and they're going, surely there's more to life than this. I've bought all the things now. Now what? And that's when it becomes about contribution, service, making a difference. And that's when you're talking about the power to really make a big impact and make a difference and, create change in society and culture that you want to see in the world that you want to live in. That's real power. I think that's so exciting.
Correct. So just to kind of, you were talking about how we led into this, is talking about ROI, and we're talking about impact, and we start jumping into it.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I just kind of map out what the things are that drive this? Because I think it'll help give context for all the discussions we have, because we can then feed into how I made a transition and other people we've helped, and a lot of people will. It's a great formula to help map a few things out. Would that be okay?
Do you have a name for this thing? I mean, it looks like something that you've put some thought into. You're not just coming up with a moment.
Well, it's called Business Owner Joy, and this is the heart of our genius of what we do. And really, if I kind of...
Which is the opposite of a job, right? It's the reverse of a job.
It's the reverse of a job. So this here is the kind of heart of what we do, is helping business owners to have joy and what they're doing. How do you do that? 3 things you've got to be able to nail. First one is wealth. And wealth comes from being able to do 3 things very well. You've got to have a great scorecard. You've got to know what your break even is, your break even for profit over 14-week rolling cash flow forecast. You've got to know what your marketing optics are, your leads conversion, average dollar sale, your repeat business. You've got to know what those are. You've got to know when you spend or invest X dollars, that you get a 3 or 4 time or whatever the multiple is for that model, that business, what that return is. So you've got to understand capacity planning. These are all basic foundations. And we've got quite a few, surprisingly, 8-figure businesses that have come to us as 8-figure businesses, and they don't have their basics and foundations in place, and they're just cracks everywhere. And most 8-figure businesses that have come to us wish they were a 7-figure business, because they're making a lot more profit at 4 mil than they did at 12 mil. And that's no exaggeration. Second thing is a thing we call lifestyle. How do you build lifestyle? There's a few components. Your ideal lifestyle number. You've got to understand that there are 3 businesses everyone should be in: the now business, the future business, and also your asset business. So that kind of nails this one. And then this part here is around contribution. Now, specifically though, this is the financial contribution. Those who have money can give money. Once your immediate needs and your great lifestyle met is, then what are you going to do with it? That's going to be beyond that. That will also help you stop self-sabotaging yourself, which I see happen all the time when business owners get to a price or dollars that are more than they ever thought they could. And even though they say they want something, they just go, I don't know why I'm not doing it, because they haven't really lucked this one in there. The second lever that makes this work is this thing around time, which we started talking about at the beginning. Super duper important to understand that everyone has a genius and everyone has their strengths, but how do they, everyone goes, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. Well, everyone has the same amount of time. We know that. Time is the only thing that's equal amongst all people. It's where that time actually goes. So there are 3 areas of time. First one is genius time. Now, both of us know there's some great wealth profiles. If anyone's ever done that, is a great place to start around looking at what your genius is and working on what your strength is. This here is what we're really saying here is, where are you the heart surgeon in your business?
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate enough to have spent some great time with the millionaires and billionaires, and literally about 3 weeks, for the 4th time, I'll be on a little private safari with Richard Branson. So I've had plenty of time with them. We're doing a collab event with them, which is going to be great. But he very much knows his genius, and even when we're there in the resort, he's getting there and he's asking him, what's our occupancy rate? What do we need to do here? He knows where he can make the tweaks. Same as Steve Jobs. This here is knowing what that is. Most people are misdirected in that. They start out okay in that, but then they fall off the wagon really, really quickly. Then we need to have strategic time. Big picture, where are we going, where are we heading, what's it look like, how are we doing our game planning? The directly proportional to the amount of time people put in here, their numbers will increase. They double the time in here, you'll see that they double their profit they pull off the business as well.
Wow.
This one here is a profit, I said on that, and actually cash flow even more. Next one is renewal time, taking time out of the business. It's interesting to see that because we get financials every month, we know what actually makes a difference. We've found that if a business owner is taking less, I'll say it again, less than 6 weeks of renewal time or 6 weeks of leave, under that, the performance of the business is hampered. Poorer results. Now, that renewal time doesn't mean sitting on a beach sipping lattes or cocktails or whatever it is. It could be, like for me, I usually go out on a challenge. I normally, or there'll be a fitness thing, or I'll, it can be that as well as a holiday time. It just means you're not in the business, you're out of the business. That is one of the biggest force multipliers in a business. When you have wealth and you have time, that's how you build autonomy. The next one here is impact. And in impact, 3 things that make that work. The first one is mastery. What we mean here is, like, what is it that you want to learn? Like, if you're gonna look 10 years from now and go, that's what I really want to do. I want to learn. Like, I had the 2 sessions before here, I had a lady, I said, what do you want to do? Like, you want to keep doing the same things? Actually, I really want to learn more about this. I said, great, well, let's start moving your business in that direction. Because guess what? If you don't start doing that, you're going to have an affair on your business. So this is making sure you make an impact to yourself first. If it doesn't work for you, it ain't going to work for anyone else. The next one here is flow. And what we mean by flow is how do you can make an impact yourself, but how do you make an impact to your team? How do you have your team? What's the team meeting rhythm look like? What's the way that, using our genius, we know that how the whole team works together? What does that look like? How's everyone combining and working together on that? And then the third one is, that says legacy. And legacy is the processional effect, or this is you, this is your team and economic community, this is your product and service. What's the impact that you would like to make for that? For us, we want to serve over 1 million entrepreneurs around the planet and help them to have remarkable businesses. And the big thing that we do, and by pulling all this together, is we help business owners to have the confidence that their business is the pathway for them to have a remarkable life. It's a vehicle. And that builds business owner joy. So we start this, like, we did not even plan this conversation, but when we asked about ROI, there's actually different kind of shades or colors within the rainbow of ROI. And we can focus on one. This one here is the profit part of that. That is definitely important, but we also need to factor in some of these others, so it's a holistic approach. Does that make sense?
That's so good. I've got a whole page full of notes here. Dave, with a big love heart in the middle. That is so good. How long have you been working on this model? That's so good.
Well, it's from the day I started, just always thinking about what can we do and what makes a difference. And, that my first client was like, he was just a pain in the ass. Like, he was constantly kind of, complaining about stuff and not doing the homework, and then I had to give him a uppercut and say, let's do the game plan and what's really important to you, and you know where this conversation is going. And I realized that first client was me, and so I went, well, what's most important to me? And these are the 3 things. And so we just evolved that from, and all the tools and things we use with our people we coach and mentor. They're the ones we use for ourselves. We build them for ourselves. We share it with everyone else. In essence. So this is our model on how we internally grow what we do, and that's really cool and it works.
So good, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share it. Like I said, we were just, I want to find out a little bit more about you and what's going on, but then I'm so glad we took the time to dive into this, and thanks a million for sharing it. So tell me, if somebody was able to apply this business, and you talk about business owner joy, can you give me some examples? Like, what's the vision? What's possible? So if we got a business owner who's, either at one of the...
I'll give you an example. I'm in the business trenches every day with business owners. And so I'll conversation with a lady.
Call yourself a co-pilot.
Co-pilot, yeah, definitely we're co-pilots. We're on the journey with them. This is a classic example of that. A lady, I won't mention too much around it. I won't say her name specifically, but I'll give you the context. runs a great business, been in business for 11 years, and started with us 12, what month is it now? So 11 months ago. And so been in business for over a decade. It's a 7-figure business, so just over 7-figure business, 1,100-ish, like 1.1 mil-ish, and doing a great work. The actual company, what they do adds huge value to the community, like amazing value to, let's say, kids. I'll just leave it at that. What ended up happening is that this business owner had never earned more than 35. 1 year was 45,000, and the year before the start of last was about $15,000 that they took out of the business. And what I'm saying here is, I'm not saying they got away and this is profit. I'm saying that everything that they got was just that. Now, they might have written a few things off in the business, but that's what they lived off. And the team was a bit difficult, and there were sort of some prima donnas in the team. And there were some family circumstances. 2 close relatives both had to be hospitalized. This person had to look after them. Then this person's husband got diagnosed with a very severe condition. I'll leave it at that. And basically, from as soon as it happened, had to stop work, and has been in and out of hospital and been touch and go where they're gonna as far as living, like it's super duper serious, and the surgery is extremely full on. And this lady was in the business 65, 70 hours a week. So in 11-ish months, the business, using this as a guide, has got to a place where she does 1 shift a week, and that shift is to run the team meetings. In the first 3 months of this calendar year, the profit that this lady had made was more than the profit than she made in the last 3 years.
Whoa.
Just to give you an idea, the profit now, the profit in this last 3 months, the profit in this last 3 months, these last 3 months, is in July, August, September. Has been their biggest that they've ever had. So the revenue is the highest, but the profit is off the charts. It's almost like from January until where we are now, early October, that in these last few months, the business has made more than in the 10 years before, as far as the profit that they're bringing in.
Wow.
And when you know what the strategy is it's actually relatively simple. Then you've got to. It's not easy, but it's simple. You just got to follow through, and there's some things we had to do, and some tough calls, and they were going to give the business away, fold it. Wow. But they did such an amazing service to the community. I mean, like, so many kids would not survive if they didn't do what they did, but now they can, and now they've actually got a real business, and they're only working it, so they're a true owner of a business now, not an operator.
That extra profitability on that extra time, what's that mean for her in terms of lifestyle and what's possible for her now that just would never have been even on the table for discussion even 12 months ago?
Well, the big thing is right now all the family needs help. Got 2 relatives that are in our hospital because they're elderly. A husband that is literally on the weekend just gone. This is why it's fresh on my mind. Back in hospital in intensive care, and a son who's still young. And needs a lot of extra help. So there's no way in the world that she could have done both, and making a lot more profit and not being there. And so just knowing how to be, what's the genius? Don't try and do everything. What are you the true genius in? What are you the heart surgeon in? And focus on that. And so that's what we did. And she nailed it. And now she's got a business that is an asset. And I'm absolutely certain it's already started happening, but in the next 1 or 2 years, there'll be a big company that'll come along and want to snatch it up and buy her out. She'll probably never need to have to work again on the back end of that, is what I would predict. So that's what's possible when you put these things into place. Now, that's just one example. Why? Because it's fresh, because we just had the meeting just a little while ago.
So creating that kind of a transformation in a business and a life, and going from the last 3 months profit being more than the last 3 years profit. That's extraordinary. But how, from your perspective,
to be clear on that, it wasn't the last. That was the January, February, March the profit was more than the last 3 years. But in the last 3 months of July, August, September, is more than pretty much the last 10 years all put together.
I heard you say that, and I went, I must have heard wrong, because you can't do
I know they're great results in through extremely challenging times. That's what can happen when you know the right steps to make at the right time.
Just amazing. So how much for that is like a totally outstanding, remarkable story, or how much is that of you is just you going, yeah, that's what we do?
Well, every business is different, and every business owner has different things that they need to leverage for. We absolutely, with that person, needed to up the ante for the profit, like this, because it wasn't going to work. But we absolutely had to free up the time. They were already nailing it in this area here. So think of this as a bit of a map or a bit of a compass to guide us on what that is. And we just executed that result well. Her profit is solid, but the average, that's like mathematical average, so bell curve, increase in profit last calendar year is 292%. So if someone made 100,000 one year, they made 392 the year after, and we got well over 100 clients, just to give you an idea. So there's a good base of numbers to make it accurate. There's not going to be a lot of skewing that goes off in that.
Got it. Unreal. So Dave, I'm wondering, for someone to get that kind of result, tell me everyone would love that. I don't think there's a business owner in the world who wouldn't go, 400%, that would be amazing. Let's do that, right? What's some of the mistakes that they're making that are stopping them from being able to get that? Because you can look at any business and go, here you go, this is how we do it.
First thing is I'll put in here from a mindset perspective.
Okay.
Most people's mindset is a bit out of whack, to say it politely. And the first thing is they're looking for silver bullets, they're looking for the magic pearls. They're looking for the next course that, oh my God, I can go and be a Facebook marketing guru. Or I go, here's the next thing that I can go and, I don't know, like think of whatever courses you may have seen or done. What's the sexy things at the moment? Can you give me some sexy things that people kind of? What's the latest?
There's always new stuff coming out, but for sure, like another. Yeah, I look at disposable knowledge. So anything that's like tactical, that's like learning a skill, is probably going to be a distraction. Whereas if you can focus back on the principles, then you're
bang on. So for me, when you look at the mistakes that people make, is that there are no silver bullets. It's doing the simple things and continuing to do them and executing on them for the right stage of where your business is at. Because, for example, let's say in most Western countries, that would you if someone said you're investing in property, is that a good strategy? Is that a good wealth creation strategy or not? What would your first thing that comes to mind for you as far as just general population? What would most people say?
Sure.
Great then, yeah. And I do have I do a lot in that space as well. But the key thing is that if you bought a property, let's say a residential property, if you bought a residential property at the peak of the market, is that a good strategy?
No.
Not for most cases. Sometimes it can be, but most cases not. Yeah. So the right strategy at the wrong time is the wrong strategy. And so coming into your question there is, what are some mistakes? Well, one is just making sure that they're following their pathway for the right level where they are in business. That's probably the big thing. And a lot of people go, oh, he's doing that and she's doing that, I should do that. Well, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You're in startup mode, you got to do this thing. You're in early stage, sub seven figures, do this thing. Or you're at this phase, then you do this thing. And make sure so this is probably the big thing when you talk about coaching and things like that, is you got to, I've got heaps of textbooks and books up on here and all that sort of stuff. And they're great strategies, usually for bigger businesses that don't apply to small business. People attempt to put them into place and it doesn't work. Not that it doesn't work, it's that it doesn't work for them right now. Yep. So one of the mistakes is they don't have a scorecard. I have yet to come across, we coach bookkeepers, accountants, lawyers, all that mix. Not one client ever, and we've worked with over the years we've been doing this now for over 1,700 businesses. not one has ever had this foundation right. So they don't have a 13-week rolling cash flow forecast. They don't know their optics. They don't have a simple capacity planning tool to know what their trajectory is going to be and when they need to bring in the resource to do it. Like none of these are hard to do. It's like we've got
crazy.
Like the simple things on that. Like just get those foundations in place. That'll be a mistake I'd say for most people. They don't know the optics. Second one is and it fits in this category as well, is their product is and I'm trying to do it a nice way. Their product sucks. They fall in love with their product rather than fall in love with the client.
Nobody wants it. Yeah.
And even though they get some feedback on it, they get some results. It becomes a zombie business because they've got enough that's making it kind of feel like it's working, but it's not enough. It's not really enough to really succeed. And
half alive, half dead, right?
That's it. So what it is it usually it can be packaged a lot better. It's probably the easiest way. They haven't productized the business. They haven't unpacked the IP and the methodologies so that it can be scaled. If you don't do that, you'll never be able to scale that. So that's kind of like some fundamental things. Then coming in here is they just screw around with their time. They're busy but not effective. They're not efficient. Even sometimes they can be efficient. They're still not effective because they're doing the wrong things. And you and I both know, because we've done some studies together on things years ago, that if it feels like it's hard work, then it's probably not the right strategy. It's that whole principle of thing. Yeah. So So if you look at the first box I go through on these, this is where people screw it up at the very beginning. Is they're not sure what their genius is. They make a mistake around that. They don't know how to generate cash flow and also how to track it. And the next thing in here, looking in this section here, is what's the rhythm that they're expanding their business? What's the rhythm that they're on? What's the team meeting rhythm? How often they do? What is it? That's a very important part of it that most people don't have one. Even if you're a solo hero, solo heroes are the most important ones. That was the fundamental thing. If I think of the one thing that we did that was different from a lot of people, that was probably the biggest thing that we did that made the biggest difference. And we've had, in fact, just as of 9 days ago, we just finished our 32nd consecutive record quarter growth in a row. So we've had 32 quarters in a row of being better than the quarter before. And one of the fundamental principles on that has been the rigor around how we run our meetings and our rhythm, more importantly, the rhythm of how we run our day, our week, our month, our 4 month, and our year. So that rhythm is super duper important because it provides a mechanism to scale. So kind of going through a lot of principles here that you asked around mistakes, and there in each of those areas there's at least one big mistake everyone makes, which means they end up hitting their head on a ceiling. They kind of hit this plateau and it just becomes frustrating.
Dave, I just looked at the time. I'm so enjoying this. I feel like we could talk forever. And I know we're just like scratching the tip of the iceberg on the knowledge and wisdom that you've accumulated, not only from all the work and study you've done, but also all the implementation and practice that you've done in your business and with your clients. Any final thoughts, any last bits before we wrap up?
Well, that's a toughie. I hadn't planned that. Probably my thought is more of a philosophical one.
Sure.
That being a business owner and entrepreneur is not for everyone. It really isn't. And some people should probably go and work for someone and be an entrepreneurial employee or an entrepreneur. And that's not being funny at all. I actually think that there are people that are better suited, and actually everyone does better for that. Having said that, business ownership is the best personal development course you'll ever do. Any fear, any frailty, anything that kind of is your little idiosyncrasy, self-sabotage, it's going to show up. So it's like the best personal development course you'll ever do. Particularly when you've got a little bit of a framework to help guide you. It's unbelievably rewarding. And aside from all this is the philosophical part and this business owner joy, it's actually what it helps you become. And that's a bit like woo-woo, and it's like, but it actually is. It actually is that I actually feel like I'm not I'm a consumer, that I'm a contributor into the wider community, and I believe being a business owner business owner is the backbone of every country in the world. We employ more people, they innovate, they're the risk takers, and for me that excites me. And I think that whoever is choosing to go down the path less followed, on attaboy or attagirl, good job. You're you're on a great pathway, and if it feels tough, you will get through it. Night follows day, day follows night. Make sure you reach out and have a co-pilot. It doesn't have to be us, could be anyone, not necessarily anyone, but someone that can be a sounding board, and you'll get through it, and you'll be better for it. So that's probably my slightly philosophical
Beautiful. Love it. Dave, thanks so much. And I'm super looking forward to having you on the Game Changer show next week, live in New Farm. So we've got an evening event in New Farm, and we're going to, have an amazing conversation. But outside of this, just the conversation part, we get some networking, some great food, some good drinks, and it's a really, really special experience. So super looking forward to seeing you there. We do have some tickets still available, so anyone wanting to book in for that, hit the link. I think Minna is sharing a link for that one. Anyway, Game Changer. Actually, I can put a thing up. Game Changer Business Evening, Brisbane. So if you are in Brisbane and you'd love more of this remarkable man, next Tuesday evening, this is happening. And Dave, for people who want to connect with you, where's the best way? What's the best way to do that? Because you've shared so much.
I'd say just go into our website, abundance.global. So that's the name of our company, abundance.global. Thank you. And just go in there. You can check us out there. There's some really good videos and some good content in there as well that you can get some good insights straight away. And if you want to actually reach out to me or to myself, one of the team, there is a little link there to book a call. I'm happy to 15 minutes with anyone, just have a chat to them and just have a chat and see if we can help them out. And we'll give them some coaching straight away. So we're really good at 15 minutes. We can get into it pretty fast and have them walk away with at least 3 things to focus on going forward. And if they want to continue the journey, or we do as well, then we can talk about that at another time after that. But happy to do that. And if they jump on the website, that'll give them the place to do that.
Beautiful. Abundance.global. No .com on this. This is the new top-level domain.
www.abundance.global, yeah.
There it is. Dave Dugan, thank you so much. It's been amazing to connect, and I would love for this to go for hours. However, I'm respectful of your time and everyone else's. Mate, I will see you again on Tuesday evening.
Sounds great. See you, bud. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye for now.